We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Aye, aye, Admiral Butthead.
So don't mess with me.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
I pray for the president all the time.
Back to the lock with you, Nessie.
I've now been in 57 states.
He's rightly designated as the crummy moronic type.
We didn't crawl out from under no rocks. We didn't have no tails. We didn't come from monkeys. You atheistic pinko meathead.
Donald Trump no longer has the capacity to break my heart.
I'm not pissed. You've seen me pissed. This is way, way beyond pissed.
Now it's a party!
Don't try to be funny, will you, meathead?
Welcome, brother.
Welcome.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody.
Welcome to the Fortress Independence.
Yes,
Nicole.
another joint operation in the world of video blogging. So
Look, I look like I've been lifting because I've got so many clothes on. I got like 4 layers. I'm like all beefed up.
yeah,
It's cold.
I look like I've been eating. So
It's cold up here.
I think I've been spread out.
You need the warmth. It's cold up here. I'm freezing.
Yeah, no, I think mine's spread out. I think I feel like I'm a little enlarged.
Well, I don't have. I didn't bring. You didn't give me a shirt. How come I don't have official Ballistic Patriot attire?
I don't know. You didn't bring your shirt.
Oh boy. This organization sucks, dude. I'm jumping out of the Brotherhood literally.
Yeah, that's right. There's other brothers to replace you.
That's true. That's true. There are other brothers.
Both biological and non-biological.
That's right.
All right. So today's operation is going to be about. I'm going to do a little updates. Then my brother's going to be talking about the election. Then we have some Trump rally stuff.
Fight for Trump.
He's in
Fight
Georgia
for Trump.
and he's fighting mad, as are the his supporters. All of us.
We're going to be saying USA. We're going to be saying fight for Trump.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll give you actually a breakdown on that too. So let's start with the updates as we switch screens here.
I hate that screen. Through Facebook.
So anyway, we have some information at the most recently we had Jack Ciattarelli updates. So this is Insider New Jersey, and the head of the New Jersey Democratic State Committee, the committee chairman said that Jack Ciattarelli, the background of Jack Ciattarelli was at a Stop the Steal rally outside of Governor Murphy's house. Governor Murphy blocked off the street, so he had the police block off the street so the protesters couldn't get to in front of his house. This is so typical of these despots, right?
Yeah,
it's so typical of the despots. Don't let anybody near you. Don't try to shut down the protesters any way you can. But at the rally, there was a Confederate flag, and the John Kerry here says the Confederate flag is our nation's most enduring symbol of racism, hatred, violence, and terror. And I would like to just point out, enduring meaning, been around the longest. I would say that there's something that's even older than that has been pushing racism, hatred, violence, and terror, and that would be the Democratic Party. Since the Democratic Party has been known thoroughly being the racist of segregationists as well as the slave owners, and why the Republicans fought a war, civil war against them to free the slaves as well as enforce the law. So I would say, John Kerry, guess what, buddy? Your party is the most enduring. So that's number one. We'll take him off the screen for now and go down to my other update. I have an update on China, my brother. China, as you know, this is a little bit further involved. Going back, as we've been often talking about how China is in the process of gathering rare earth elements and taking control of just natural resources around the entire globe. They've been very instrumental in trying to take these things from different parts of the world or gain control of them through their one road initiative, where they're trying
One road, one belt.
one road, one belt, where they're trying to take over, economically as well as physically, these areas of the world that have natural resources, and just to gain control of that nation. This is something that China's been trying to do for almost 20 years now, if not longer. So and of course, what is our politicians in Washington done, which we've talked about this often. They've been bought and paid for, a la Hunter Biden and the big guy, right? The big guy. Come on, Jack, you know what I mean, right? Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Mr. Fill my pocket with some cash, former vice president and not going to be president, Joe Biden. So here's the deal. This guy and Obama and the rest of and both parties are guilty of this. They've been allowing China to, in essence, do all this, take over this, and what they've been able to do is they've now priced out all of the U.S. rare earth element organizations. So we have a bunch of mining companies that have shut down in California. I think there's a couple in Texas who have just shut down their mining operations for years. Why did they do that? Because China, doing what it always does with industry, is it dominates an industry and then it cuts the price on everything. So it drives everybody else out of business. This is what China has done to our economy repeatedly around the United States. And they've done it.
They're called free trade.
They call it, yeah, but it's not when the government of China buy and owns these companies that they then cut the prices of the product. So it's not free trade. It's the exact opposite of free trade. It's government run trade. And so this is what has been going on for years. And now the U.S. is behind. 80% of rare earth elements that are used in all the rare earth elements used in the United States, 80% are imported by Chinese companies. And so now they've been putting pressure on the Trump administration because President Trump has been standing up for America first, and he's been standing up to fight them. And so now we are at the crunch point. The Chinese think they're going to win because the Democrats, with their help, are trying to steal this election.
And you forgot the Russians too.
Yeah.
Russians too.
Yeah, but they're trying to do it. But this is part of what people don't want to believe, what the left doesn't want to believe, is that the Chinese have a major stake in Joe Biden's victory, and a lot of these Marxists,
it's only 10%,
and a lot of these Marxists, 80% of rare earth elements are coming from China. So it's going to help them for them to continue that trade. So what's been going on, what President Trump has done to deal with that, because we know that he's an innovator and a mover and a shaker. He wasn't sitting still with this. He's not sitting still with this. He has, in fact, had the Department of Interior to get these mines open around the country and gotten them to go back into business. And I would hope that when he wins and is able to be reinaugurated on January 20th, we're going to see this policy continue. And also, even making it better, is that there's a large open plain field in underwater between Hawaii and Mexico that they estimate has as much rare earth elements as we would ever need.
Really?
And
I did not know
that not making them rare anymore.
That is an excellent update, proving once again God loves America.
So
ridiculously so.
John, there's a problem. There is a problem with this. What they would do is they would completely, they have to mine the surface of the ocean.
If I had my buttons, I would be pushing Harry Stamper and Armageddon.
I know.
It would be really funny. And
sorry, you don't have buttons.
Take it away.
So modern technology took him away, not me. So the problem now is who, of course, is going to be against that move of mining because they're going to go down and take the layer, and it's going to completely disrupt the entire area of the seabed. It's good because they're going to suck up because there's these rocks about this round. What it is these rocks that are about yay round, and there's a whole bunch of built up that have been taking thousands, maybe even millions of years to fill up.
Again, natural resources that were put here for us to use.
And what's going to happen is, of course, the leftist media, the leftist, the Democratic Party, the Marxists, are going to try to, they're going to get influenced by China to shut that down.
Paid off by China.
Paid off by China so that we can't send anybody out there. Unfortunately, for all the leftists and the communists and the wannabe Marxists, they will not have a say because it is all in international waters. Because once you get 2 miles off the coast, and there's, as far as I know, there's no treaty to stop them. No, I think it's 2 miles off is the international boundary. Some countries like China like to say it's all the way to Hawaii. But
it's between here and Hawaii?
It's between Hawaii and Mexico. So that there's a giant, there's a field. Well, no, it's a giant flat area, the seabed.
There's nothing there. It's like a
right
crossing of like 2 weeks. I think.
There's just some dead ships down there at this point. And there's nothing substantial down there that they know of. So this is a great opportunity for us to be able to harvest this great resource and get back. Get back what we have, so we don't have to depend on China. He got us off energy. He got us off. He drove us, to make us more independent, and he, medical. And he was trying to. Here's a guy trying to make it so our rare earth elements, which, by the way, your cell phones, your computers, any type of technology, the electricity that we have, everything that we have on our planet today that's modern is run off of these rare earth elements. And there's about 19 of them on a periodical table that are super important to modern technology.
You think the Democrats would be all for that because, of course, they're porn, which needs to be good.
Also Silicon Valley, right? Silicon Valley, right?
Silicon Valley, right?
Silicon Valley, but they don't give a rat's rear end.
Right.
They just don't give a rat's rear end. So
save the earth.
Save the earth and destroy humanity.
Save Silicon Valley first.
And so that's my update in a nutshell.
All right, so I'm gonna hit the. It was a good update. I'm glad you put that all together without any preparation at all. I'm glad you spent all week in the Ballistic Patriot salt mine, having to listen and go through all the technical legal documents of what's been happening for last week. I'm glad you took that upon yourself.
I've been in the mines, John. I've been paying attention.
Epic Times one time.
That wasn't even the Epic Times.
One article.
That wasn't the Epic Times. That was actually 3 different articles and a video, 2 videos. So
you can see the sweat and the swat coming right off of you. The stains on it.
Let's not forget. Let's not forget my other update.
We need a union here. Ballistic Patriot's horrible.
Oh, spare me. All right. So since you did so much work, oh my goodness, I feel so.
Look at this pile of crap. Look at this pile of crap I had to go through. See how thick it is? Look at all these papers. These are documents.
You know what, John? You're right. I'm so impressed. In fact, I want to make it clear. I am tripling what we are paying him right now. I am tripling what we are paying him.
You're so good. You're so kind to me.
Yes. What do you get paid? What do you get paid now?
0.
So we're tripling that. And if he's really good next week, we're going to quadruple it.
Oh, boy. I'm just going to be so rich.
Yes.
Right. Just to recap,
rich in heart.
Yeah. But remember, the last shall be first. Or you know what our cousin said? When I told him that,
give me $5.
No. I said when I told him, we always go last, but our cousin, but he said, I said, but just like Jesus, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. And then you know what he told me? He said, "We'll see about that."
All right, hold on a second. Before you go, let me switch scenes.
Okay. Oh, gee, freaking dark. Can't you put on Melania? Put on Melania.
I'll take that under advisement.
All right. So here's
Again,
the game,
I don't
the
get
game
paid
board.
either.
Just
so,
to set up the game board, just so we know what the game board is. So game
you have
board
any
currently
graphics?
huh?
You didn't have any graphics for this?
Yeah, here's the graphic right here. Graphic number
Oh,
one.
the salt mines are so bad.
Graphic. Well, where's the IT department? Graphic number one.
They went home
board.
early.
The game board is this: Biden sits with 306 votes, Trump with 232. Since Pennsylvania can no way stand, that will drop it down from 286. Remember, 270 is the magic number. So either the Supreme Court is going to have to step up, or so, they can't let that go by. So knocking off PA is still not close enough. It's still down to 286. But with the developments, that actually, if you're going by some of the legal stuff that we're going to talk about, if say Wisconsin goes down, then he's at 276, and say Georgia goes down, then he's at 260. So he really needs like 3 states to be knocked out either by the Supreme Court or by events, for example, like in Georgia, we're going to cover in a little bit, to go to the contingent electancy, where it goes to the state delegates, where because the Republicans, again, because we accurately predicted, our statistics department accurately predicted the House and the red wave, where we now have we were one off of that. We have 27 state delegates versus 21, I think, of theirs, with mixes in between. So we would Trump would then be picked in the by the state delegates as the president. So that's the game board. Now, a couple of things that happened this week. It was a big week on the legal front. But wait, let me one more thing too. So the dates, because we're getting into the date crunch. December 8th, just this week coming up, and that's why you tune in, so you know what's coming up, is Safe Harbor Day. That's when all the elections disputes have to be reported by federal law. Then on December 14th, that's the casting of the electors' votes, and on December 23, the deadline is for the results of the electors. Now, but as various commentators have pointed out, but because of code U.S. Code 3, U.S. 12. Even that says it's ultimately insignificant because the Constitution has already provided it. The dates are January 6th to January 20th, and 20th is because of the 1933 amendment to the Constitution, which moved it up from March. So those are the key dates, are really January 6th and January 20th. January 6th is when the Congress certifies the election. And what could go down is if one senator and one House of Representative, as the roll call, because it's the roll call, the votes is going to be going off alphabetically. Say for the first one, Arizona, and I'll get to that in a second, but say Arizona, if say they stand up and they say, I challenge that. I challenge the election in Arizona as being fair. Look at the election in Georgia. How could that have been fair with what's been broken this week? Then they would have to take 2 hours off, talk about it, and come out and vote. So you could have see the fireworks going off, if there is enough support, or at least one support in each for Arizona and Michigan. And interestingly enough, a Mo, which we're not going to cover yet. Mo, one of the House of Representatives came out and said he would do that. And it is the momentum does. We're the week because of the revelations in Georgia, where that might actually be a tipping point. But while that's been going on, there's been some big legal work that's been going on this week. So this week in Arizona, for example, we don't have time for the clip, but the chairwoman of the Republican Party is a Dr. Cal Ward, and Trump mentions it in his speech. They were only allowed to review 100 ballots. But because of what they found in 100 ballots, it was expanded to 2,500. And the idea is that they're not going to be able to expand it again. And these are the duplicate ballots. These are allegedly the ballots that were jammed or broken machine, and they were pulled out of the copy machine, like you do like a copy, pulled out, and then they had to rewrite them in. The electioneers had to rewrite them in. Yep. And in just 100, they found that one vote was completely switched from Trump to Biden, and another one was taken away because somebody added another name, which then is counted as an overvote, and Trump gets knocked out. So it was a Trump plus another name, and that knocked him out for 2. And another one was wrong too. So that's 3 out of 100. But that's the swing of the state. It's only a little swing of that. And just for the numbers, so that we know what they are, because from last week on the game board. Oh man, where's my game board? Where's the game board? The game board. The election is so close in each one of these states, and that's why these legal challenges are so important. So Georgia, it was 12,620 votes, a difference. In Michigan, it was 155,000. In Wisconsin, it was 20,000. In Arizona, what we're talking about, 10,456. And of course, in Nevada, 33,000. So the mere fact that they found 3 votes is 3%. There you go. So that's a significant development. And she's a great speaker. She's not only is she a Republican, but she's actually a fighter. And all she wants is transparency. So that's what happened in Arizona this week. Now for Michigan, this is a really key. They put on Julie took his roadshow there, put on a hearing, and there was a wonderful woman they had speaking there who was not white, and look like actually Indian, so they can't use their usually. They've been smearing everybody he puts up there as white and as a Nazi, but she points out that there was backdating in Michigan, and good old Giuliani comes up with created the phrase of the phony date of the day. So she also details some of what was going on, and one of it was this key. And I was told this by one of our key operatives. She says that people will come in and they will be told that they already voted. And they go, "What do you mean I voted? I didn't vote." And they say, "Well, that's okay, no problem. What we'll do is we'll spoil that ballot, and then we'll just give you a new one, and you can vote again." And what she's detailing is the stolen vote. And I didn't really put this together at the time, but my canny operative, good old Mikey, figured it out. He said this, and you know this, brother. When you're doing an election, here's how they stole a lot of these votes, right? These Democratic operatives. So you know this. When you run an election, if you buy into the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, they give you the street list. You know what I mean by the street list, right? Yep. And in the street list, there will be a listing of everybody, R or D. So if you're doing a primary, then you hit all the R's, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't hit all the R's because the street list has a rating of like 4-1. I forget whether it's 1 or 4 is the highest. So like a 4 would be they vote every election. And a 1 would be, they haven't voted in 10 years, right? Like that. And then like 2 or 3 is this. And you, depending on your strategy, would then hit like all the 4s. And maybe hit the 3s, right? Or depending on you would just ignore that house and move on because you don't have the time, right? And so this is the street list. Now here's how they use it. Well, that can be turned to, because you get the address, you get the voter's name, right? That can be turned for these fake mail-in ballots that they did. So just instead of going for the 4s, where the people show up every election and vote regularly every election, and there'll be like 3 members in a household, and you'll see it there, right? So that hit all the 1s, right? Collect all those 1s, put them in your list, shoot out the list with all the 1s. Now you have people that have never shown up for 10 years, for 20 years. You take that list, you get all those ballots for the mail-in ballots, and then you just mail them in as that way. If the guy from like this poor lady's detail in Michigan, if the actual voter rarely, one decides to resurface out of 2 decades to go in to vote, it goes, "What do you mean I voted?" They go, "Oh, no problem. I'll just give you the I'll just give you a new ballot. We'll spoil that old one." It's like the perfect crime, right? And that also gives you how all of a sudden you get this huge number in allegedly Biden people voting, right? Now actually they could have gone for the Trump guys too and used them for the ones that never showed up, but that's a little risky. But you can get all the Democrats who haven't voted in 2 decades, right? And all of a sudden you get this huge turnout for the first guy with dementia voting versus the first guy running for the president with dementia. That that huge number of people that want to support that. Like they didn't come out for the first woman voting, and like they didn't come out for the first black guy to be president. All those people that are now like hot for dementia. They come out. You can now use that to bump up hugely or bigly, as if the word would be, the number of Democrats, and it's like the perfect crime unless somebody goes and hunts them down, which is what needs to be done. But it really lays out how it went out, and also lays out, what was going on, and there's got to be, because it's no coincidence. The coincidences are just too big. The quinky dinky is just too big. The pause in all of these cities, and then they found out the numbers. That was the second part of it. But the main part of the theft came here, and here it was. All these people, and in all these battleground states, if it's ID in one state, it's Pennsylvania's mail-in ballots against the Constitution and the rules, and in Georgia, it's the not signing the signatures and stuff. It's just too much of coincidence to do. But so that came out in Michigan. Now in Wisconsin, interestingly enough, related to that. So in Wisconsin, this is an interesting development in Wisconsin because Donald Trump himself sued against the election then. So he had a couple of lawyers who actually put in a solid suit against, because now they can't say that like me and you, the courts will play some kind of game, but we don't have standing. So he sued himself on behalf of himself against the election. Remember, it is for $20,000. Some very interesting things came out for that. For number one, so you're going to start hearing this word, ultra virus. It's not the stupid comedy or cartoon central.
Ultraman.
Ultraman. Oh, it's ultra virus, which is beyond the power of, and what it points out is that in Wisconsin, amazingly enough, the game was this. The Wisconsin voter laws are very strict, and just like Pennsylvania, the Constitution, voter stealing has been a problem, in America for as long as we've been around, and a lot of states have developed antibodies and systems against it, and some states like Pennsylvania and Wisconsin have put it, enshrined it in the Constitution. And one of the things that they've done in Wisconsin, he points out is this: when you get one of these mail-in ballots that they were so hot for, in Wisconsin, you would have to have done, normally, you would have had to upload your ID. And they have an ID, a voter ID law. So you have to take your picture ID, your state ID or your driver's license and upload it to get it. And what they did is they did a workaround of that by deliberately telling people not to upload that, and by allowing them to get their mail-in ballot without putting up their voter ID, in complete contravening of the state legislature's rules and laws and the Constitution itself. That's why you're going to get beyond the power up. So, for example, you got this.
Who made that law? That order?
Well, for example, you get You get the guy. You get the actual a guy who's in charge of in the one big county, going on Facebook telling everybody. This guy Scott McDonald, who is the clerk of Dane County, go on Facebook telling everybody to declare themselves all indefinitely confined due to illness. So just to back step one step, the law there actually requires. So you can't just get a mail-in ballot. And the reason why, of course, is because it's so subject to fraud. So you have to be either in the military, deployed far away, or you have to be in an old age home. And then so you have to be you have to be declared indefinitely confined due to illness. So the scam that they're doing, and then if you do that, if you're in the military or that, then and they have the voter ID law. I still think they have to put in their voter ID, their official ID card to upload it, so that there's a picture of them to verify, and some back trail for them to verify that somebody's getting this ballot. who is an actual person, and then you can check their signature because they'll have it on their little card and all the rest of it. So and like I said, Wisconsin actually has a law for voter ID saying this. So these people ultra virusly, without any authority to do it, were getting people to violate the law, to go around the law, to get their mail-in ballots. So now that's against the Constitution, against the state legislatures, rules for election, against the election law, too. And so Trumpy had a couple of lawyers actually file suit for it, and that's a pretty solid.
What's he filing suit on though?
On that they manipulated the election and to have it have those votes that were for mail-in ballots discarded.
But is he going to go after the fact that they used the courts to change the law instead of the legislature? Is he going to go after that?
That was the Pennsylvania case. Remember, that's
but
that's why
like
Pennsylvania can't stand.
That sounds like they did the same thing in Wisconsin.
Well, they did it in a different way, and that's the point. In Georgia, it's the process we went over last time. They have to verify the signature, and the poll worker who's doing it has to certify it.
Right.
In Wisconsin, you have to upload for the mail-in ballot. First of all, you just can't get it unless you're in the military or you're in an old age home or you're permanently disabled.
So it comes down,
right? But then you have to upload your ID. And so what they did is they're getting all. Remember what I was just pointing out. That's the trick. And that allows the Democratic operatives to not only ballot stuff. Before, it was confined in like little areas, like say Philadelphia, where 55 districts always 100% go for the Democrat. And in Chicago, it's 77%. By the mail-in balloting and that little trick of the street list that we were talking about, now they can do it. They can do it bigly.
So what it comes down to is at some point it's going to be a discussion within the Supreme Court whether they feel that the courts could violate the law and make a decision based off of the state emergency.
Well, in each state, there's a different way and a different path. And so part of the problem is that Trump's response, because they weren't prepared. I mean, who could expect this? Has been scattershot, but they're focusing in now, and that's the whole point of me bringing up Wisconsin. Is this is first of all not going to be able to avoid saying that he doesn't have standing, so they're not going to be able to play like in
the 39 cases.
It's always a game. It's always a game with the creep judges. Okay, right. For example, in Pennsylvania, they Ted Cruz points out. The Supreme Court Democrat creeps are saying, "Oh, laches applies. Laches is," and that's like if you were a lawyer and somebody says laches, that gets you the lawyer eye roll. Like, what the hell are you talking about, laches? Meaning it's too late. You use laches for cases like tort law, I guess, for like if you're building a shelf in 27 years. I think the statute of limitations for building shelves that fail is like 25 years or something, and it's like 27 years. And so the idea that they're going to use that because the jerks of fake Supreme Court fake justices used it for the first to ignore the suits against it against what the court was doing, against what the individual clerks were doing, and the state secretary of state in Pennsylvania are doing. They used, well, it's too early. It's not developed yet. Right. So this game that the judges in Pennsylvania are playing, one of the reasons why Pennsylvania cannot stand. But next on that list is Wisconsin, and on that list of like the legal list of the most vulnerable until what happened in Georgia, but most vulnerable because the Pennsylvania Constitution and the Wisconsin and Wisconsin Constitution are similar in that strong protections against voter fraud that are actually written into the Constitution, and that gives the power to the legislature and not the courts. So the courts are completely ultra virus, and these clerks and these county people that are doing it are ultra virus, meaning they're doing it beyond the power that they've been allocated. Right. So that's what happened in Wisconsin. Now and that's Michigan, and I did Arizona.
So that's 30 votes. That's 30 electoral votes.
Well, one more. I'm going to hit one more. I'm going to hit the Pennsylvania one because good old Teddy Cruz. Because remember what I said before about a senator? You need a senator and you need a House of Representatives to challenge the votes, right? On January 6th. And good old Teddy is my number one candidate for that because I mean, I've been on again, off again on my tech groups, but like that, I know one lawyer maybe is as good as him. One, this guy is a killer, and he just sent a letter to think about what's the guy down in Texas.
I kind of think it might be Mitt Romney who does.
Oh, son of a bitch got me on that one. You got me out on that one. I wasn't ready for that at all.
That would have been that. I smell a big fat coming.
Oh, how's that not? How's that? I don't want to hear any nonsense about Google. No, I need that button. Anyway, Ted Cruz has sent a letter pointing out to the Supreme Court must take the Pennsylvania case because and he explains the nonsense about the latches and how you're in a Trump 20 you're in a catch 22 by this nonsense saying, oh, now it's too late, but before this you said Alito we couldn't address it because it was too early, it wasn't developed yet, right. It wasn't a problem yet. So he sends a letter to the pointing out the problems. Now he makes a different argument, and one of the arguments is that just a little history in Pennsylvania last year or so, and it's a good argument. Ultimately, it's well worth it. So basically, the federal Constitution gives the power to the state legislatures. But there's another clause, and he didn't bring this up, but he's wrong in this. But there's another clause in it that I'll get to in a second. So basically, what happened is what he's pointing out is that not even the legislature, when they made these rules, can change the rules that are in the Pennsylvania Constitution, and by that is the Pennsylvania has like 4 areas where you're allowed to get a mail-in ballot. One of them is illness, though, and so but it's still you cannot. No, it's not, and they're very great case law. It's like a 150-year-old tradition in Pennsylvania denying mail-in ballots. And because they're open to fraud, and they have some amazing language about it, and they point out it's some of the language. So this is from one of the cases because it's a 158-year tradition of denying Pennsylvania ballots for any reason. For example, they want basically the no excuse mail-in ballot, and so he points out, citing a brief that one of the Pennsylvania legislatures. In the case of Lancaster, a 5th ward of Lancaster, the contested election in the fifth ward of Lancaster, and it says to offer to vote by ballot is to present oneself with proper qualifications at the time and place appointed, and to make manual delivery of the ballot to the officers appointed by law to receive it. The ballot cannot be sent by mail or express, nor can it be cast outside of all Pennsylvania election districts and certified into the county where the voter has his domicile. We cannot be persuaded that the Constitution ever contemplated any such mode of voting, and we have abundant reason for thinking that to permit it would break down all the safeguards of honest suffrage. The Constitution meant, and they're talking about the PA Constitution, meant rather that the voter in proper persona, meaning person, your person, proper person, right, should offer his vote in an appropriate election district in order that his neighbor might be at hand to establish his right to vote if it were challenged, or to challenge it if it were doubtful. And it goes on for a little bit. And then he brings us this language, though. A wild door, it would let in, if you allow in this mail voting, it opens a wide door for, I love this phrase, the most odious of frauds. And that's what we're seeing here. The most odious of frauds. And so so what's happened is it's in the Pennsylvania Constitution to only in like 4 particular areas, again, military stuff like that, and illness. And it's not for an apprehension or the thinking that you're going to be, but it was that door that they're trying to cast. Now, interestingly enough, the knucklehead Pennsylvania legislature passed some laws, but they're actually illegal. Well, his point is they're illegal because you have to change the actual Constitution, and for that in Pennsylvania, right, you have to file. You have to do a referendum. Yep. You have to actually have a referendum of the people. Now, the thing that good old Cruzy misses in this is this: yes, the federal Constitution provides exactly for the state legislatures, but it also has another provision that says that guarantees a republic form of government. And what they're missing is that meant at that time that our federal Constitution actually comes at the end of a whole growth, a series of constitution where the founding fathers, from the beginning, from William Penn himself onward, learned how to write constitutions as well as they did to finally produce the amazing one that they finally did. And at that time, the Republican form of government meant constitutions, like the Pennsylvania Constitution. So the point is, you can't violate the federal Constitution, the Pennsylvania Constitution, by doing these ad hoc, ultra virus actions to let in this mail-in ballot and this, we're going to use this fraud. And so that's a big development in all this ways. To the most odious of frauds, setting us up now for our section, on your section, on what's going on a little bit with Trumpy in the in Georgia, which came out this week, and while we're so it's now we would sing our something nights in Georgia, because now we're gonna go to Georgia for the.
Well, it would be Ray Charles. Georgia is always on my mind.
Right, Georgia's on my mind because we're gonna go down there for what came out in Georgia this week, and for Trumpy himself being down in Georgia for the rally.
So we're going to switch scenes. Be prepared. All right, so the by the way, we were at 41 minutes, brother. We're doing good. We're doing good with the time. So let's start with this first scene. What you mentioned it about what came out in Georgia. This bit of information. And by the way, this is from Right Side Broadcasting on Saturday.
Now watch as they get packed up. Why would you need to secure them and then ultimately take out the mysterious ballots from under the table to start counting? It just doesn't add up. Elections board member Dr. Kathleen Root shows her skepticism in that Zoom call this morning with the elections chief.
It is interesting that these ballots were under a table versus being in the open.
Well, I think there's this. Know that I think those ballot boxes get. They want to be lifting those things up and putting them back down.
That's why they're in suitcases.
She's not heavy. He's my brother.
Yeah, the brother, right.
So yeah, that's you can see the president's look at that, John. What a beautiful face that is, huh?
He's the greatest. He's our archangel.
Yep. He goes, yep. I got you. That's I got you.
Yeah, they don't have a really good excuse for that. I mean, that's the best excuse they have so far.
It could be his other famous look, John. You're fired.
You're fired, right. And now they've been saying, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence?
Video evidence, John. It doesn't exist.
And now they have, as Rush had pointed out on his show, their ballots don't live in suitcase. Ballots should never see a suitcase. Never see the inside of a suitcase. Ballots are supposed to be out in the open.
You know,
so you can see
suitcases are in a box. No one can see it. Right?
Why do you put things in suitcases? Because you're going somewhere with them. You're traveling with them. Right? Yes. There should be no ballots being smuggled into places, being in the dead of night that are pulled out from a suitcase.
Right, exactly.
So now this is huge. They're trying to hide this as much as possible, but this could be the tipping point.
And finally, the governor of Georgia weighs in and says, I think this is something we might want to look into.
Right.
Ridiculous.
So Trumpy, our man, is down there in Georgia rallying the troops to save the line, to hold the line for the idiot Republican Party. Right. By dragging, just like he was the leader of the red wave that dragged the Congress to the Republicans and has saved the Senate. He's trying to drag these two over.
I think this is a point where I mentioned very clearly that if you remember back in 2016 when President Trump ran and he was asked, if you don't win a nomination, are you going to support the Republican who does? And he said, no, he's not going to. He's not going to support any of the people who are not truly going to fight for America. That's, I think, John, we need to adopt that. We need to adopt that. We don't vote for people
that we cite
just because they're Republicans.
So you were in then. So now here's the divide. Now we have a couple of brain trusts. One side of the brain trust says this: how does Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood come out in this and say, don't vote for these Lochner and Perdue if they don't come out and fight for Trump, right?
Right.
And I mean, they're your lawyer, and the brain trust says that these are your lawyers, and especially, I mean, you can say Lynn Wood.
Well, they say that
Powell.
your lawyers, meaning the President Trump's lawyers, right?
Right, and that he gave them the okay.
Endorsing them.
Right.
He's endorsing.
But then the other side of the brain trust says that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing ever. And he said on this tonight, he says, vote for, don't listen to my friends, meaning Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood, vote for that. But it comes up in the middle of this because these two, I mean, he was flat. I think he was flat to begin with. Then these two knuckleheads come out and you want to roll it?
Well, I think the point though is we shouldn't be listening to. He governs from a place where Democrats and Republicans will join him. He's gained Democrats, drawn them into the party, and I think that's the reason. Part of the reason is because he's fighting for America. He's taking that old time patriotism that we love and we know, and saying this is what I stand for, and really does stand for it. Not just talks about it like people like Mitt Romney or Paul Ryan or Pierre Delacour. That he doesn't. They don't just talk about it. They talk about it. He doesn't. He says, "I'm going to do it." He's been fighting for us. And so, having said that, here you go, brother. You can hear it in the background, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to what they're saying in the background, the crowd.
I want to say something personal for President Trump. God bless you. We love you, Mr. President. We love the First Lady. And we're going to fight between those two seats and make sure you get a fair and square deal in the state of Georgia. God bless you, Mr. President.
I thought they were going to lynch those two. And it was uglier than that. If you sit there through it, they come up there, they're hesitant.
Yes.
They barely say anything because, they're politicians. They don't want to support Trump. They think Trump's going down. The only thing is this. Everybody, I thought they were going to lynch those two. Those people, the people that are for Trump, they are so mad at the Republican establishment for not backing our guy 1,000%. After all he's done for them,
it gets to
they are ready to lynch these idiots. For vote for him, they'll vote for him. They'll vote for him, and then and if they, depending on, they're taking names. We're taking names at this point. We're looking at all these jerks, and like the governor of Georgia now, he's dead.
Well,
he's gone.
But John, it goes down to like in 2021. The year after every presidential election is the New Jersey governor's election, and right now we have a whole. You can see that this is the next campaign. Just like this is the campaign after this is going to be New Jersey's governor, and if they're going to be able to kick somebody like Murphy out. And here's the thing. I know a number of Republicans that I've talked to, and they've said it publicly and are continuing to say it. And I can't disagree with them. I agree with them 100%. We are not going to stand with Republicans if they are not willing to fight for us. We're tired of the Chris Christie's. We're tired of the Kim Kadanos. We're tired of people like Pierre Delacour, Paul Ryan, and all the rhino rats out there, which is what they are. We're tired of these rhino rats like all the people I just mentioned. And so we're not going to stand for them. We're not going to stand up for them. We're not going to fight for them. We're not going to come out.
Why now? Now the other part of our brain trust, the smartest part, the female part, says, why won't they, in their own interest,
because it's not in their own interest. Their own interest is to buy into the left and get the media. That's what they're sucking up to the media. They don't want to be embarrassed. Look at Chris Christie's working for CNN. He's on CNN. You got people who Kim Kadana, who is his the lieutenant governor, is standing and saying that Trump should step aside at this point. This is ridiculous. These people, and these are supposed to be the leaders of our party. John Brannick, who's the head of the highest ranking Republican in the state, is standing against President Trump and saying it's a national embarrassment too. This is ridiculous. That guy thinks he's running for governor. He's not going to get the Republican base to come out because he just shot himself in the foot. And John, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if what you mentioned and our brain trust with the lines of voters, because this was a historic election, as Murphy says, for New Jersey. I wouldn't be surprised if many of those votes that people voted were bullet votes, just for one person, nothing down ballot, and they were just like we've just described. They're just mail-in ballots, because New Jersey went mail-in ballot 100%.
I think that the reason why these Republicans do it is because the tyrant that we're facing is the deep state, aka the the unelected bureaucrats. They're the evil ones who have never been elected, who have all this money now and all this power, and get to lecture us on how to live our lives. Whether it's these idiot Democrats who want to do it, or the idiot Republicans who want to do it,
who are allied with them. The Rhino Rats.
The Rhino Rats are with them because they're the same people.
Yeah.
They're all the same. It is literally us. And for the first time, the Republican Party actually represents us, the workers, the middle class, the people who do most of the living and dying around here. Right, George Bailey?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, George?
That's right. No, but it's the truth. We're tired of it. We've bought into the lies for too long, and now it's we have our standard bearer. We have a guy who's standing up for us, even though he's possibly facing losing. He is still fighting for us. The ship may have a couple holes in it, but they're patching it up and they're trying to continue to fight. He's not giving up. If he was Mitt Romney, if he was Paul Ryan, if he was any of those clowns like John Brannick or any of them, they would have all bailed.
You have one more of these sound clips.
Yeah, I do have
one. Is he going to? I mean, because listen, let me tell you, he was flat in this. This is his flattest speech I've ever seen him give, and until the point where he started getting into it, because he realizes they're for him. The Republican Party is for him.
Yeah,
it's his party,
yeah,
not these idiots.
It's his party.
These idiots.
We're part of his party.
Right.
But we're not part of the Rhino Rats. The Democrats can have them.
Then he came back and he did well. But
Chris Christie can become part of the Democratic Party.
Right.
I'm sure Phil Murphy will take you in.
Right. So the question is going to be, is he going to fight? And you got a clip for that. But I have to tell you, I felt for the first time I could see the how much this has hurt him, because Melania is holding his hand. Melania is holding his
back. She always holds his hand when he walks off.
But I think she feels, to me, reading the body language, she feels bad for him. In this, but he is.
She's a good wife,
yeah,
and she's a good supporter of his, despite what the media wants to try to portray her as. She's the most intelligent first lady I think we've had in the White House since John Adams' wife Abigail.
And so, but my question is he going to run? What would happen if he loses?
Technically, she wasn't in the White House yet.
What would happen?
What would happen? Yeah. Sorry. I was thinking about history. That happens.
And we're going to take back the peace in 2022. And then in 2024, hopefully I won't have to be a candidate. We're going to win back the White House again.
There it is, folks. Boom. I hope on January 20th, let's say this goes bad. Let's say it doesn't go the right way. But I hope on January 20th, he walks out of the White House, goes down to Trump Towers, sets up a podium, and says, today I announce that I'm running for president. In 2024, we're setting up our headquarters right here at Washington, D.C., Trump Towers.
No. He needs the escalator.
He can do the escalator too, John. He's welcome to do the escalator.
And the escalator again.
He can do it again. He can do it again. I do want to go back to this clip where he was talking to these two, because I think the sound was down. I think that's part of the problem. Because that's why we couldn't hear it that well.
Because I thought they got off the stage as fast as they could, which is not what politicians do, because they that crowd was ready to lynch them when they start.
My good friend, we will lose the country. If
we can hear it.
We will win.
Hey guys, I want to.
You don't even let him talk.
Right.
I want to say something personal to President Trump. Hey guys, I want to say something for President Trump personally.
They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear what you have to say.
I want to say something personal for President Trump. God bless you. We love you.
Idiot. God bless you too.
First lady. And we're going to fight and win those 2 seats and make sure you get a fair and square.
Yeah, fair square. Why don't you come out and say you're going to be the senators who are going to stand up there and not let Arizona be certified, not let Georgia. How about just for your state?
Yeah.
How about you stand up and say we refuse to say that Georgia could be certified as an election because of the fraud we saw?
Yeah, well, John, I think we've made the point pretty solid that
fight for Trump is the new rally call. Fight for Trump.
It is the truth.
Fight for Trump.
But they don't get it. It blows my mind, John. Every rally, all these things, every type of a Republican event, every Republican event that I've gone to in the state of New Jersey, the blue state of New Jersey, I have heard Trump's name in a positive way. I've seen the flags. I've seen people talking about our President Trump, and it's not doing, that's the people like us. That's the you and me. That's not the rhino rats at the top. The rhino rats are the ones trying to get off this ship, and we're welcome to leave. They're welcome to leave anytime. We don't want them. And so
wait, James. I hate politicians. It's the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
But what were you doing when you were talking to all those people? Why were you there?
I was running for office. That's right.
You a politician?
No,
son of a bitch.
I'm not a politician.
Fight for Trump, man.
I was fighting for Trump. I fought for Trump.
We're gonna lunch.
We did everything we could.
Big Jim in 2022.
We did everything we could for Ballistic Patriot to help get President
Wait, do you want to do our pardon list now? If Trump's on last day on January 19th, if it doesn't work out the way we're hoping, he gets the list of pardons, right? And so it came up this week that he said that he would pardon Jared and Ivanka, which makes perfect sense, right?
Why?
Now,
why do you have to pardon him?
Because he's under, as he said, he's under right now. They will persecute and prosecute him and his family until they stop him, because they have to stop him from running back the next time.
Right.
So now part of the brain trust says, well, it's up for debate whether a president can pardon himself, but he could step down and then let Mike Pence pardon him. But your comment on that was Mike Pence.
Well, can I switch scenes first?
Oh my God.
My brother doesn't like the.
All right, so what you're
so I said you can't trust Mike Pence.
Right,
I don't know if we can trust Mike Pence, because he's not. He was added to this team at the end of the race, like as far as I was concerned.
And he had some things in it. It said, so we have a list of other people he can pardon. Number one, all of his lawyers. Rudy Giuliani and stuff, right?
Rudy Giuliani, definitely, because they're going to go after him.
Number two, every other lawyer he can, because he's going to need a lot of them to fight and survive. And so they'll owe him a favor.
Right.
So if he pardons everybody that's a lawyer, and so, well, now you owe me a favor. You got to help me in the next 4 years.
Maybe he should offer a deal to. I mean, these guys do want to cut deals, maybe, and for their own good.
Right.
Maybe you should cut Hunter Biden a deal, dude.
Well, could you stop? I'm not get there. So wait a minute. So he I didn't know. He should also pardon.
I had no idea he was on
his entire cabinet. I like the good ones, like Betsy. Yeah, right. And Ben Carson, and of course Rick Garnell.
The left doesn't really like Betsy. And
the poor gay guy who needs to be a defendant, give him a pardon just so they can't come after him. And then also all like Snowden, Assange, Watch Babe, pardon her too. You know, I love her. I just
okay.
I just
Which Baywatch Babe? There's a whole bunch.
You know, the one that's just the boyfriend and girlfriend of Julia Sands.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. The little blonde one, whatever. I forget her name. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, her too. Now, who should he not pardon? Bill Barr, because he's a jerk and he blew it. And he slow rolled it.
He blew it twice.
Everybody,
he blew it twice.
Right. Everybody like Durham and all these morons haven't done anything for 4 years, right? The entire deep state. And then I think he's got to get real specific with his pardons for the last ones, right? And I think he's got to.
Can we get pardoned?
Huh?
Can we get pardoned?
That's what we should definitely be pardoned.
Ballistic Patriot should be pardoned.
Right. But I think he should.
For what I'm not sure, but yeah.
I also think he should pardon Hunter Biden. Right.
I'm telling you, you can cut a deal. That's an actual. Let's say,
but not Joe. And then say I'm pardoning Hunter, but not Joe.
Well, that's part of the deal. If you come out against your father, because you know he is that kind of guy, and say bad things about your dad, I'll pardon you.
No, I think he should pardon Bill for marrying Hillary, but not Hillary. and wait a minute, we're getting to the best one. He can also pardon Kamala Harris for thinking about killing Joe Biden.
Getting rid of Joe Biden.
Right. So that could be a pardon. But here's his ultimately best pardon that he should save for last. Okay, he should do this the last day. I just walking out. I got one more pardon here. That before I go over to
stand in front of the cameras,
to swear to see Kamala Harris sworn in as president because by then he'll probably be dead. Joey Boy will probably be dead.
He broke his leg.
He's
gonna show up.
Right.
With a broken.
How do we know that wasn't her already? There is a provision, saying that if you don't have enough votes, or the president-elect dies, then they swear in the vice president elect as the president. There is a provision in that in the amendment.
Oh boy.
So anyway, his last one should be this. This is his best pardon ever. I pardon Barack Obama for all his crimes and being the lousy president that he was. And go, yeah, by the way, mic drop. Drop out. Right?
I like that one. I like that. Especially the mic drop.
Because he's truly cool and not pretend to be cool.
Well, listen,
like skinny boy.
One of the things that not to project ahead, but if he did, he would be setting himself up for a great position of when he runs in 2024 of being the second president to have been able to do split terms. And John, there's nothing to say that he's projecting us another 8 years down the road. That's what he's doing because whoever he picks to run after him is going to
whoever's the vice president then.
Yeah.
I guess the face of the Republican Party.
I guess on the way out, I did want to report that, and I didn't fill it up, but apparently Governor Murphy attacked Matt Gaetz, who's the well-known Republican, the well-known Republican congressman from Florida. Yeah, who's came out
wrestler. I forget what's our wrestler friend. The one with no jacket. He's always in a t-shirt, going his guns, showing his guns.
Yeah,
what's his name? He's a good kid.
But anyway, he came to New Jersey with the New York Young Republicans, and they had some kind of event in Jersey City, and Governor Murphy was quite offended about it and said some very, I think inappropriate, like you shouldn't be coming to our state and not wearing masks because they weren't wearing masks, of course. And so it was so dangerous. And you're not allowed in our state. The backlash, I mean, how dare a governor say somebody's not allowed in the state? I mean, when this state has so many people leaving the state and not coming back, when somebody wants to have a party here, don't you, to try to say you can't, to say anybody shouldn't be here is just dumber than a stump. And really, I think the knucklehead is really Governor Murphy.
He doesn't get a pardon.
He does not get a pardon.
You get a pardon. You get a pardon. I'm the Dopra of pardons. I'm the Oprah of pardons. You get a pardon. You get a pardon. Everyone gets a pardon.
Not Governor Murphy.
Not you.
Or that Wolf guy. Because, I mean, John,
they
actually
or
need
Witless
it.
Whitmer.
They need it because of all the people who died in the senior centers at their
For killing old people.
Yes, for killing old people.
They should get it for that. Oh, they care so much, except they kill all the old people.
Yes. All right, brother. On that note, we're going to go out. Any final words?
God bless.
Here we go.
We want to remind the audience to please not talk out loud. Please do not applaud. You're just wasting time.
Aye, aye, Admiral Butthead.
So don't mess with me.
I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
I pray for the president all the time.
Ugh, back to the lock with you, Nessie.
I've now been in 57
He's
states.
rightly designated as the crummy moronic type.